Hey, welcome to another great episode of Get in the Flow. Today, we got a really exciting show. We're going to be talking about how fintech is changing everything for small businesses and professionals. So, with us in the studio, live in the studio, sitting right next to us on camera,
Yes.
is Blake. Blakeborough. So it goes by Blake, yeah?
Yes, that is true.
Man, we're so glad to have you. We're so glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
All right, I'm going to introduce you here so everybody kind of has an idea who you are. But Blake has created Tax Titans. It's the first ever online marketplace for accounting and financial services, and they're currently in their very first tax season. So let's just give up a big prayer for them right now. We love tax season. This is an amazing time. He looks awfully light though, considering. They're a fintech company. They're in a startup phase. And so they've got the goal of becoming the Amazon for all things accounting and financial services. They're a veteran-owned company. Hey, we'll give it up to our vets. We love you guys. I was a Navy guy myself, so
We won't hold that against you.
okay, now, man, I'm complimenting here.
No, our CTO is a 22-year Navy aviator, so he's the one making sure everything works. Us Army guys just work for him.
Right,
Wow,
right.
awesome.
No, we appreciate your service, but and we also appreciate your service to vets, because I know that you're creating opportunities for veterans and military spouses, and that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that. Blake served as both an infantry and tank officer during his time in service, so a little walking and riding. He's a bit of a serial entrepreneur, and some even say he's a little bit crazy. So he likes to call himself a recovering accountant. His previous businesses have been setting up Olympic fencing school, having opened over 60 schools in the last 25 years. That's pretty impressive.
Wow.
He also is the only one that's ever attempted trying to create a professional fencing league as seen on ABC for 4 glorious months.
Sweet.
He's had coffee shops, gaming stores, and eventually those coffee shops and gaming stores became a gaming cafe. He created an online micro tutoring company, and also did some housing for the homeless veterans using shipping containers. And so today he's going to be sharing with us his greatest new adventure, Tax Titans. So Blake, man, welcome to the show. We are glad to have you. Getting the Flow is all about kicking your assets in gear. So man, give it up for Blake.
Yeah, man, we're honored to have you on. I know our viewers are going to be pumped to hear all about this. We had a really hard time narrowing down what to kind of get you talking about, because you do so much, man. You were blowing my mind with how much you do. The very first question though, let's get right to it. Where the idea for Tax Titans came from.
So last tax season, a friend of mine who's had a practice here in Greenville for 15 years had 3 other accountants that were working for him, and they had 1,000 clients, and 3 of them went out because of medical reasons. One of the accountants had a heart attack, 2 of them went out because of COVID, and he could not find anybody else to help him. As a former recruiter for Robert Half International and recruiting accountants, gave me a call, said, hey, can you help me? So I went into his office, worked the phone for about 5 hours, couldn't find anybody who was available during the middle of tax season. Told him he had 2 options. One was he burned the place down and collected the insurance money. He didn't like that option. The other one was, I was like, look, I haven't done other people's taxes in 20 years. Hell, you do my taxes for all of my small businesses. I guess I can come in and I can help you dig through these 1,000 clients you have. And he says, okay, can you be here tomorrow at 6 a.m.? I joke around, been shot, stabbed, jumped out of airplanes. The only time I actually thought I was going to die was last tax season. So from that aspect, went in, learned all the new software, how to do taxes, lots of, very great companies such as Drake that, help you walk you through as a tax professional. But around April 10th, we had about a week left and we had 300 clients left. And I told them there's not enough hours in the day to complete the rest of these returns.
Okay. Okay.
I have a wild idea. Why don't we reach out to the other accountants in Greenville who do taxes, share the work, pay them 100% of the fee like we do in staffing with splits or any other industry.
Yep.
And when he agreed, I was like, awesome. So what platform do I go on to connect with the other accountants and share the work? You know,
Right.
just like in your guys' industry, there's, you know, all these conventions, there's ways you can share tricks, ideas, things that you do. And he said, there's nothing like that. And I said,
Wow.
well, that's got to be impossible. Amazon can have any physical product on my doorstep in 24 hours.
Yes.
We've been paying taxes in the United States for 121 years. How
Right.
is there no marketplace or way to work as a professional with other accountants to share the work?
Right.
And like, well, I've been doing this for 15 years and I've yet to find it. So went to a software developer here in Greenville who makes custom software applications, told him what I wanted to do. He reached out, tried to look for other things like that that already existed, so I wasn't wasting my money. And sure enough,
Right.
nothing like that existed. Thus began the whirlwind that has been my life for the last 11 months.
Yeah, that is,
Holy cow.
that's
Okay.
all. So you're in you're basically in a fintech space.
I discovered what fintech was literally 8 months ago, had no idea what fintech was looking to raise some funds, knew some people up in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is, you know, the banking capital of the US.
Right.
And as I was talking to them, they're like, oh, you're a fintech. I'm like, I have no idea what a fintech is, but okay. And then they explained it to me and I was like, well, okay, yeah, I'm using technology to solve a financial problem. So yes, I am a fintech. And there was a great company in Charlotte called RevTech Labs. They do an accelerator program with folks, and they've been doing it for over a decade. Dan Roselli, who is the founder, had a unicorn exit with a company called Red Ventures, who is out of Charlotte, and has been a mentor and has literally got us to the point where we're actually operating now in our first tax season.
Holy cow.
That's great. That's great. Congratulations on your success.
Thank you.
That's a lot. It's a lot of work goes into that.
Yeah.
So
We actually had somebody from Silicon Valley when we were at a national conference for tax professionals tell us that there is no way in the world that we were going to be up, launched, ready, and recruited, hundreds of accountants because the people in Silicon Valley couldn't even accomplish that. And when I told our developer in Greenville about it, his text to me was challenge accepted. So
yeah, I was gonna say, you know what, you don't tell an infantry guy or a tank guy that you
Yeah.
can't do something. Just
Yep.
watch.
it's like, throw that gauntlet down. Here we go.
Yeah, exactly. Challenge
I love
accepted.
that. I love that. Hey, I have to ask this, and again, I don't want to like ramble too much, but
Nope.
really, I was gonna say, how long have you been doing this for? And that's kind of all encompassing. Like it sounds like you've done so many different ventures. I've heard that in many entrepreneurs' lives of you might have some fails.
Oh, I have a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And it's depending on what you do with those to move on and to move forward. And
Yep.
so can you kind of relate to our viewers of what that looked like for you when you have something great and then maybe it failed? Did you learn something and move to the next thing? What did that look like?
So for us, we have a joke that every time we have a meeting on Monday morning, I tell all of the groups here and in my fencing schools, my instructors, go out there and break things. You're only going to know how to basically make something better once you break what currently exists.
Yes.
The death knell, a lot of people talk about thinking outside of the box.
Yeah.
I have been accused of thinking outside of the box, and some people have said to me, do you even know what a box looks like?
Right.
And my response is yes, a box is like a coffin. It's where dreams go to die.
That's right.
And from that aspect, the failures that I've made, it's like, okay, I have discovered a way how not to make something work. In all the fencing schools in the United States, we have 10 rules. One of them is losing is learning. If they go to a competition, they compete and they lose and they come back and, well, I learned I don't know how to do this, this, or this. I'm like, okay, then that was a great use of your time. If you win and I ask you what you learned in winning and you tell me, well, nothing, I'm like, okay, well, then that was a waste of your time. Yes, you were the best one in the room that day. But unless you're continuing learning, and for me, an old guy like me, coming into an area where 90% of the people that I deal with are millennials, I am literally the old dog in the room, and they're like, Grandpa, why are you, trying to make a fintech? And I tell them, I said, well, this is personal for me. And they're like, well, what do you mean it's personal? I said, well, 22 veterans a day commit suicide in the United States.
Right.
A lot of them do that because of financial stress, because when they leave the military, they don't have a pathway, kind of like in the military where it's like, okay, basic training, then I go to AIT, then I get deployed to my unit, and I have people there training me to be good at my job.
Right.
The military, for all the great things it trains you to do, when you leave and go into civilian life, they kind of like, here's your DD 214 and good luck to you, and
Good luck.
pat you on the ass and good luck. You take your GI Bill, you try to figure out what you want to do in college, but there's no pathway that says, hey, I'm going to train you to be proficient in another profession that's going to allow you to take care of your family, pay your bills, so on and so forth.
Right.
And the veterans that we have here at Tax Titans, that's one of the things that we're looking to do. We're looking to take those people 6 months before they leave active duty, to those military spouses that are looking for a way to augment their family income. Give them something that is never going to change. The US government is continually going to take tax money. Your money, my money, anybody that's successful, they're like, give me my share.
Yep.
And in order for you to keep as much of your money in your pocket as possible, somebody has to prepare those. And in the United States, that is an industry. H&R Block makes $3 billion last year doing tax preparation.
Yeah.
We want to take a large number of that money and go, okay, well, there's veterans and military spouses that would love to do your taxes. Use our platform and give them the opportunity instead of, not I'm saying anything bad about the folks at H&R Block, but there's 7 levels of management that don't prepare returns and they make money. I would like to put that in the pockets of the people who are actually doing the work.
Yes.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. So question. So you had mentioned that when an accounting firm or accountant or financial services, whatever, when they sign up on the platform, they take 100% of the fee. So how does Tax Titans create cash flow in your business? Where does your revenue come from to support your business?
So let me back up. So when we were talking about what we were trying to do before the platform existed, it was 100% to the folks. We came up with a model that says, okay, we can't do 100% or we'd be out of business. So what is the most, what is the most that we can give somebody? And we said, okay, well, what if we give people 90% of their bill and we only keep 10%? And we figured out that as a scalable model in fintech, kind of like an Uber and Airbnb, 10% is more than enough money. And for the accountants on the platform, they are very, excited because they're like, well, how much does Tax Titans get if I do the person's bookkeeping? We're like, well, nothing. You get 100% of that. Well, what if I do their payroll? Well, you get 100% of that. So I only owe you 10% of doing their taxes, which is a one-time transaction over the course of an annual period. They're like, well, that doesn't seem fair to you. I'm like, well, okay, that's fine, boo-boo. We're scalable. If you're happy to be on the platform for 10%, I am more than happy to give you 90. And,
Awesome.
the folks at ADP and Drake and Gleim, all these, basically titans in the tax and accounting world, are amazed that nobody else had come up with the idea. I just came up with the idea because I don't want to go through another tax season with my friend. As we joke around in the military, if you want to find the fastest and easiest way to get something done, give that task to the laziest guy in your unit and you will find the fastest way to get it done.
That's 100% true. I always tell people, Wes asks me all the time, he goes, how do you get so much done? I'm like, I'm lazy.
Yep.
I want to find the easiest path. That's right.
Golly, no, that is incredible. I think that I don't know. There's just so much that I can tell you. Like you're humble about this. You have incredible knowledge. Like you're willing to say this is something new for you, and just to hear all of the things that you've done prior to this, some of what Josh mentioned. I mean, it blows my mind. And so I really was wanting to see for our viewers and a lot of people, probably even accountants that are wanting to join you, but are stuck. What does that look like to get yourself unstuck and go overcoming those challenges? And what does that look like in your personal progress? And maybe you can speak to them of what they might need to hear too.
So my experience up until this point in time with my other businesses, especially with Tax Titans, is recognize where the pain points are. And if you're providing a service, if you're making a product for your end customer, if you understand where the pain point is, then you have the ability to either create an aspirin or a vitamin. As it was explained to me to people, if you have pain, you will never forget to take the aspirin because you don't want to experience pain anymore.
Right.
Everybody knows if they take their vitamins, it's good for them. But if they forget to take them one day, it's okay. Then I'll take mine the next day and I don't have any really long lasting or immediate detriment to not taking a vitamin. So for me, like for instance, when I was on places like the Blocks and other fintech conferences and stuff, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, identify as many pain points as possible. And then in the service that you're creating, figure out how many aspirins you can invent for those customers to be able to use. And then you wind up discovering all the vitamins around what those aspirins are. And if you're having a hard time figuring out what the aspirins are, be humble enough to ask your customers, hey, what are you having problems with? If you could find someone that could take something off of your hands or do a service for you, what are you willing to pay for? And people are very blatantly honest where they're having pain. I joke around, you know, there's two things in the world that don't lie. That is a drunk person and a 5-year-old. So to talk to those people, they will tell you all the, you know, truths you want to learn. So
yeah. So your surveys are taking place at bars and daycares?
Yes. Yep.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. That is super real. Wow.
Well, we're kind of coming in for a landing, and you just gave us some great tips. So I think all of our viewers could probably agree that, you know, finding those pain points is really super important. So I'll leave you with one last question. If you were to recommend a book, what book would that be and why?
I would recommend The Third Wave by Stephen Case.
Okay.
He is the inventor of AOL.
Okay.
And people take a look at his life and what he did with AOL. And it's not until you read his book that you realize that he failed with 3 other companies before he started AOL. And one of his biggest failures was having Apple as one of his main clients, and him literally having Apple fire him and his company. And they had done such a bad job with Apple. Apple was willing to pay them $3 million to go away.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Yep.
Wow.
So, you know, failure is fuel.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that, you know, do something. And if you're afraid to do it, then do it while you're afraid.
There you go.
Golly.
All right, dude, you're getting quoted. I hope you know that.
I know.
I've been writing down quotes this whole time. I mean, the crazy thing is, this is recorded. I could do it after the fact, but I'm writing stuff down, man.
Yeah.
This is good.
You're preaching to us, man. And that I think is what we want to have for what we're bringing here with Get in the Flow is if this is real and it's going to be real to us and it's going to be real to our viewers. And again, man, we're so honored to have you on here. You are just laying it down. This is something we wish we could do for 3 hours straight, but obviously we want to crunch it into a manageable bite-sized chunk. So thank you for doing that with us, man. We are honored to have you.
Yeah.
So good.
Thank you for the support. So it's great to talk to you guys, and anything we can do to help, that's kind of what we do. We live to serve. So.
Well, Blake, we appreciate that. I mean, you are a testimony to service, honestly. Yeah. I mean, you signed the ultimate price when you joined the military and said, I'm willing to lay down my life. You've come out, you've continued to serve in various different ways and through your businesses. And serving the vets, and you continue to serve through creating a marketplace and finding those pain points. And we really appreciate your life of service, man. We really do. So
Yeah.
hats off to you.
Inspirational.
All right.
Yeah. Cool,
Cool.
guys. This has been-
Lastly-
oh,
Yo,
you got
lastly,
something
I know,
else?
I do.
Okay.
I want them to know where they can get a hold of it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Where can we
Yep.
find you?
So you can find us at tax-titans.com.
That sounds hard.
You know, I don't know if I can do that. Easy enough, easy enough. Okay, sweet. And we are gonna put that in the show notes as well for everybody to find. We're gonna just light you up as much as we can, man. We want people to find you. We want to be able to find you because we are going to do something together. So this is exciting. Thank
Yeah.
you again.
Yeah,
All
guys.
right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Make sure you subscribe below and get out and check out Tax Titans if you're looking for those financial tools and resources that are going to be available out there. They are up and live now. So this has been another great episode of Getting the Flow. We're kicking your assets in gear. Have a great day.